David Smith. I'm president of Factory 5 Racing. I'm here with Manoli. We're going to take some cars out today. We're going to do a plant tour, kind of look around, show you guys how we build our cars, and then we'll take one out on the road and see how they drive. Suspension parts, brake lines, fuel lines, battery lines. You know, it's a job that people got to be really, really honest with themselves. This is a mechanic's job. You're building a car from scratch, you know what I mean? So the guys that know what they're doing, race car building stuff, it's not a challenge for them. A guy who's never built a car before has no business doing it. Now, if guys look at, you know, a lot of guys will say, oh, yeah, the GTM, I heard that's a new kit car. It's like, this is a full-on, you know, Daytona prototype type style frame. Two-frame race car. I mean, this is a 200-mile-an-hour frame. When Car and Driver tested the car, Larry Webster, who did the driving, he's like, he got out of the car and he was like, holy beep, 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 right? He was like, this is a fast car. 63 flat on street tires, and it was 11 flat and a quarter mile. These chassis, this is probably the part I'm most proud of. You know, we have 4 fixed jigs where the chassis are built. So basically, the frame that you just saw is made on this jig. Full on, done by SolidWorks. It's a very complex jig. We're going to go through molding. So basically, we're making the fiberglass panels for the GTM. Doors, door liners, hoods, trunks. Basically, you can smell the styrene in the air. Here's a carbon fiber dash being made. It's a dash for a roadster. These are doors that are clamped with a door liner and a door, and inside here goes the steel bars for the door hinges and structure. What Josh is doing is he's bending the pieces of aluminum and mounting them in the foot boxes, the floors, the rear cockpit. And so this whole car, after this is done, door hinges and doors go on, rear hatch and front nose go on, so this becomes the half of the kit that's the chassis part. The most common question I'm getting is guys are saying, well, what do I get and what do I need to get, right? The answer is, we don't do engines, transmissions, rear ends. All of the rest of the stuff. So your full interior, and your gauges, and your windows, and the front glass, and the headlights, and the turn signals, and the tail lights, and the door latches and handles. All of the lines, like I mentioned, the brake lines and the fuel lines, the battery cable that's pre-cut, the support brackets for the hood hinges and the rear hatches, suspension parts like shock absorbers, control arms, steering racks, radiators. The rest of the stuff is typically what we make. You'll get that chassis on the underneath the lift here. You know, customers come to pick this up, or we're going to ship it, and then you're going to get beaucoup number of boxes. Like let's see, here's a GTM right here. So you're looking at seats, glass, packaged parts and suspension parts. That whole pallet basically gets pulled down and it gets married up with one of these guys. So basically, he's getting all of those parts and all of those parts. It's quite a bit for 20 grand. I mean, honestly, if you want bang for your buck performance, if you can build. Remember, if the guy can't build, I have guys come in here once a week. How much is this car? And I'm always like, you can't buy it. You got to build it. This has a special digital dash, and it has a backup camera and a full-on video system. We'll start button here.
So guys, we're here with Dave at the Factory 5 factory, and he's going to take us out on a little spin to just see what the capability of this machine is. But people don't realize it's a 2,300-pound car, so like when you turn, it turns, you know, you're like, it doesn't have a lot of weight to change direction, so it's a lot like your Ferrari. It's a lightweight car with high horsepower. It's pretty fun to drive. Larry Webster, who was the technical editor at Car and Driver magazine, drove this car. And at the time, we didn't have the all-air intake kit on it, so it was running maybe 450, 430 horse, somewhere in there. 160 in under 3 seconds. Now, they correct for temperature and pressure, so the corrected number was pretty flat. It's like flat. A Ferrari Enzo runs 3 flat. No, Ferrari Enzo runs 3.2. So this car has one job. That's to go fast, turn, stop, and accelerate. It needs to be a sports car. So not a lot of luggage space. You know what I mean? It's really all about pure performance. It's more like a race car on the street. You saw the chassis, full-on race car chassis, coilover suspension. I mean, you get on these binders and it's like it stops like it's like no tomorrow. And handling-wise, I mean, the car just it wants to turn and it wants to keep turning. And the more you give it, the more it takes. It's just a really very neutral chassis, very good sticky tires, and I mean, I love driving it. Beast.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
That's nothing. That's like 3,000 RPM. The LS7 is a 7,000 RPM engine. It's remember, the LS7 engine is a 427 cubic inch engine, and it's a dry sump aluminum block. It's a sick engine. So let's put a little turn signal on here. Go down this way. Pretty nice, and they're like, geez, I want to burn, has understeer dialed into it. That means the faster you go in a turn, it'll start to push the front end. So your wheels are turned and the front end will start to push. And that's a little safer for a street car than a car that oversteers. And typically mid-engine cars and rear-engine cars have a tendency to oversteer. Those are like quarter throttles. I mean, if you get on it, yeah. Here's a little turning exercise. So now it's a constant radius, right? Now we're turning pretty hard. Car and driver tested the car, and the lateral skid on the car was 1.05. That turns pretty good compared to most cars. Unbelievable. It's a combination of a real stiff chassis, right? And not just a stiff chassis, but a real light vehicle weight, and then good geometry on the suspension. So, hope that gives you a good idea of the car.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, if a guy's out there and he's laying brick or he's got 30 to 50 grand, he can never experience a Ferrari Enzo. He can't ever experience those cars, but he can build this car. And what he makes up is with his own skill, his car building skill. One of the things I like about it is the way it looks. I mean, the looks definitely. If you're going to drive a supercar, it's got to be supercar in your face. It's got to be low to the ground, a mile wide. It's got to look like if you mess with this thing, it's going to hurt you. The thing I like about